Hello, my name is Chris Olson, and welcome to my class, The Engineer and Design Process. I wanted to start you off with a couple of quotes that are very useful for this class here. The first one is, "The only real failure in life is the failure to try," and that one is anonymous. And the second quote is, "Whether you think you can or think you cannot, either way, you are right," by Henry Ford. Both of these quotes are very useful for this type of class because you, as students, are going to be tasked with trying to build a solution to a problem that does not have one right answer, a problem that actually has thousands of correct answers. And it's going to be up to you to determine a possible design idea, work on building it, testing it, and it might work, it might not at first. So if it does work, try to make it better. If it does not work, you're going to have to work on trying to improve it. So let's jump right into it and get into your first assignment. Your first assignment is going to be to create an introduction video. You can use Screencast-O-Matic, Screencastify, your cell phone, or whatever other program you might choose. But you need to create a video that will introduce yourself and answer the prompts on the following slide. Once you are done, you will need to post a link to your video as a class comment in the introduction video announcement within our Google Classroom. So what do I want you to go over? I would like for you to cover, first off, what's your name? What hobbies do you have? Where are you from? And a little bit about it. Have you ever taken a tech ed class before? And why did you choose to take this class? This is an elective-based class, so I'm interested in why you decided to take my class. And tell me something interesting about yourself beyond just your hobbies. And it wouldn't be fair if I did not do likewise, as I'm about to make you do. So here's a little bit about myself. I was originally born in State College, Pennsylvania, which is where Penn State is located at. I spent the first 23 years of my life there, and that's where I ended up meeting my wife, Kara. I've been married to her for just over 12 years now. Once she graduated from Penn State, her and I moved down to the beach in North Carolina, a place called Swansboro, and that's when I started getting into construction. I started off as an apprentice and ended up opening my own business while we lived down there. After several years, we started to miss our family some, so we decided to move back to Pennsylvania and towards the Pittsburgh area. When I was there, I continued to work in construction and started attending classes at the California University of Pennsylvania, where I got a bachelor's degree in technology education. From there, we moved down to Maryland, in Arnold, Maryland, which is right beside the Chesapeake Bay, and I've been teaching technology education since 2012. Since we've moved down to Maryland, we have had our first child. Our son Vigo is getting ready to turn 5 in September. And there's a picture of him last summer on the Chesapeake driving the sailboat for a few seconds at least. We also have a dog, Otto. And Otto usually spends his time, much like this, about 24 hours a day. He's laying down, not really doing much. But we also have a family cat. Her name is Olga. A little bit about myself. I'm a big hockey fan. I love the Pittsburgh Penguins. I've had a chance to go see their Stanley Cup parade in 2009, 2016, and 2017. For 2016 and 2017, I had to take my son Vigo with me because since we're growing up in Maryland, which is the home of the Capitals, I wanted to make sure that he had some photos of him supporting the Penguins in case, as he grows up, he decides to become a Caps fan. I can bring out these pictures, show them to him, and say, "I'm sorry, that's not acceptable." I'm also a huge, avid soccer fan. Love the sport. I play, I watch, I coach, I do anything I can involving the sport. My favorite club is Liverpool FC. And I have just recently enjoyed watching basically every single match of the Russian World Cup in 2018. I'm kind of upset that France won. I was hoping that they would blow out of the tournament in the group stage, honestly, but they did have a good team. And for an interesting fact, when I was younger, still living in State College, Pennsylvania, living at home with my parents, and the World Cup in 2002 was being held in Korea and Japan, the matches were being broadcast at 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m., which made it really, really difficult to work my day job. And so I figured out a simple solution so I could watch the World Cup. I quit all my jobs. Another thing about me is I love video games. I'm a big fan of video games. I do not really play systems right now because my son's too young and I can't really put the time into one of those games. So I do a lot of cell phone based games. Right now, a few of the games that I'm really going after are Clash Royale, Hearthstone, and Summoner's War. Also, I like to get outdoors. I like to go hiking. I like to go camping and try to get out as much during the summer as I possibly can. Also, as part of my job at Broadneck High School, I'm in charge of the school's robotics team. It's one of the things I really enjoy doing. I love spending time with the kids, watching them try to figure out a design for the challenge that they're given every year and see what they can build. This is a small group of my robotics students from June at the public library here in Annapolis. We had an event where some kids could come in and actually drive some robots around. So let's get into the class itself. It's a pretty simple class. You're going to be asked to build a few different types of projects, go through the engineer and design process. We have grading broken up into 3 primary categories. Projects, which is worth 55% of your overall grade. Classwork, 35% of your overall grade. And the cumulative assessment at the end of the marking period is going to be worth 10% of your grade. One of the first things that you're going to need to do in this class is learn how to safely use tools and machines. Since you are going to be building, I want you to have some sort of safety protocols in place. And this sign really does explain everything when it says to be careful. This machine has no brain. Use your own. If you have access to bandsaws or drill presses or table saws or things like that at home to help you build, be aware that those things are dumb. They are incredibly dumb. They cannot think. So you need to be the one thinking, make sure you stay safe. Once we're done with safety, you'll be introduced into the engineering design process and the steps associated with that. This is something that might be new to some of you, but it's something that all of you have done thousands of times during your life. If you're able to pick up a fork and use it to eat, you've gone through the engineering design process. When you woke up this morning, if you put on a shirt, congratulations. You have successfully completed the engineering design process. We have guides to help you through this process, and I'll show you a little bit more about that later on. Once you've learned about the engineering design process, your first build is going to be to try to research and create a truss that can hold as much weight as possible. From there, the second build that you're going to be completing this marking period is to create some type of a launcher to be able to throw ping pong balls into a bucket from varying distances. And then we get into the hardest challenge of the year, which is to create your own hydraulic loader. Now, I don't mean a hydraulic loader like this. This thing is extremely expensive. I do not expect you to have to purchase the parts for it. However, you can do the same thing by using syringes and some plastic tubing and some various materials that you can probably find around home. Your job is going to be to create a hydraulic loader using these types of materials. So for this course, we are going to be using Google Classroom. Once you have joined Google Classroom and created your introduction video, I want you to add a class comment and add a link to your video here. As an example, this is an introduction video that I created for one of my grad school classes at Fort Hays State University. So I have this loaded on YouTube. I'm just going to take that link, copy it, paste it here, and hit post. All of the assignments are already located on Google Classroom. Please make sure that you make use of the topics section. We have it listed as Unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Use that to go through the sequence of events. Make sure that you follow the deadlines that are associated with each unit, and you can find that information on the syllabus. For a lot of the build projects, there are a couple of different documents that will help you out with them. The first is the design brief. The design brief will give you an introduction into the project itself, tell you what it is that you're going to be trying to build, what the goal is, what type of materials you can use, how it's going to be tested, and how the actual build itself will be graded. There is also the engineering design process paperwork. This is all electronic. You will have to do some things on paper, take photos, and insert the photos into the document, but this will help lead you through the engineering design process to make sure that you're actually looking at what you're trying to build, looking at the criteria and constraints, and making sure that you're coming up with a feasible solution before you even try to cut or tape anything together at all. I hope you really enjoy this marking period. I look forward to working with you, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to come and see me during my office hours or to send me an email.